stocks recovering a bit after yesterday's sell-off. The Nasdaq leading the charge, climbing nearly 2%. Our next guest says there may be big bullish signs flashing for the tech trade. Let's go off the charts with Chris Verrone of Strategas. Chris, what are you looking at?
Hey, Melissa. Well, we'll start with a couple charts we brought along. I want to start with the S&P and just kind of put this in a little bit of context. S&P down 10% from the highs. That's a pretty good drawdown. But what we've seen over the last several days is the sign that this correction is actually starting to run its course. Yesterday, we had about 55% of the S&P trade to a one-month low. Historically, particularly when you're in an uptrend, that's a pretty good signal you're getting close to some capitulative type low. I think that puts us likely within a couple percent of what will be a good tradable low in this drawdown phase. And when you look at this data historically and you look at the back test, when you get this spike in 20-day lows, believe it or not, your forward returns, particularly over the next 3 and 6 months, tend to be very, very good, well above what the historical numbers look like. So we have this spike in 20-day lows. It's reflective of some indiscriminate selling under the surface. We think that sets us up for some type of a tradable low over coming weeks. If we narrow down just on tech and just on growth, I think the most important chart that investors should focus on is just how quickly sentiment towards the Qs has really flipped. You've had $4 billion of outflows from the Qs over the last several weeks. So you've seen liquidation in the ETF flows. I think somewhere in that 10,300 to 10,500 range on the NASDAQ 100 is going to prove to be good support. And I want to give you two names within tech, within growth, to take advantage here. And I think one, Roku, R-O-K-U, big base. It has spent the better part of the last 2 years in a range that has just started to break out here. It got above that key 175 level. We think 250 is the target here long term. And then if you look at Salesforce, ticker CRM, we know how strong that momentum-driven breakout was in August. The stock rallied hard on that, but it was on really big volume. And this correction since has been very benign, no real damage done under the surface. We think both those names are good ways to play this trade.
Chris, good to see you. Thank you. Chris Verrone of Strategas. Guy, which chart do you like?
Well, I mean, Chris threw out a little Louise Yamada there, as you know, Mel, because I'm in your head.
Big base.
Exactly. The bigger the base, the higher in outer space or some damn thing. I have no idea. But he threw it out there. And I know Louise watches the show, but Roku. And if I know Dan, likes to boomer me, and he has fricasseed me on this one a number of times. But you had really encouraging news yesterday between our parent company, NBC, Comcast, and Peacock signing a deal with Roku. The stock exploded to the upside. I think it closed at 197 today. That's the one. I think they report in early November. It sounds preposterous, but you stay with this thing into earnings in early November.
Dan, I'll give you the chance to boomer Guy if you want to take it.
Oh, listen, you can throw Roku on the scrap heap of just tech media hardware that this is going to go away, someday very soon. But the thing is, making new all-time highs has great momentum. It's breaking out. I've definitely been a skeptic of this as far as the technology. I will just tell you that I think his setup in the Salesforce.com makes sense. If you are bullish here, if you thought that drawdown over the last couple of weeks was enough, then you go back to names like Salesforce that had great results, big gaps, play it back up to that prior high. Same thing with Microsoft. Got back to 200, play it back to 230. There's plenty of trading opportunities, and buy them at those prior breakout levels that are support, and then trade against that support.
Bonawyn, what's your favorite chart there that Chris went through?
I will say Roku. I like CRM. I know it a bit better. Roku clearly up 20% or 18% yesterday on the back of the news. So definitely bullish there. What I will say is that I have a hard time thinking that there's a lot more to go on the upside until November. So to Dan's point, if you're going to trade them, make sure you have levels in mind and trade them. But in terms of retrenching, I don't think this is the right time. All right.